Oh boy, here we are. Technical difficulties could not defeat us today. Just a mere 47 minutes late for our show here. But hey, you know what? We're here. We're going to do what we do every Monday, which is dig in and hit on all the important data. And we're going to do it extra quickly today because both of us got to get back to our daughters here because we're behind schedule. Anyway, thank you for those who hung around in the chat. Thank you for those that have notifications on. When this kind of stuff happens, you know who shows up for the shows? The true family, with the notifications on, or the people that hung out, they show up, Eggy. So, how was your weekend, man? How'd you do?
I did great. 15 leagues, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some, but I feel like, my league, fantasy football sevens, I got Bob Harris tonight. I got some competition. I'm playing Patrick Mahomes and Fayez Alakun in quite a few leagues, so I gotta be patient.
Alcuin's a beast, man. Look at this. The chat, they're here for us. A mere 48 minutes could not stop Mojo and Ann and Mile High Luke. So thank you guys for hanging with us. Let's get in it. Do what we do. This one might have to be abridged by a little bit here. But let's jump in. First game, morning game, London game. What'd you see over there, Iggy?
Yeah, Vikings going into the bye week, they did what they were supposed to do, get this win. Mason was able to salvage a line against a tough defense. We all talk about the Browns defense. He was still able to get a touchdown, get 3 receptions, with his 50-something yards, so not bad. Carson Wentz spreading it around, 6 people with 2 or more receptions. JJ leads all, but he hasn't had a touchdown now in 4 weeks. I see if they can correct that on the bye week. Jordan Addison just makes such a big difference for this offense, man. You can look at the first quarter, go back and look at the condensed tape. Addison comes out, allows JJ to get more free. They're using Naylor in all kinds of different formations, and they're still looking for Addison with the game on the line. He is the difference maker on that offense.
Yeah, he's huge, man. It's just his big playability cannot be overstated. Like that, a guy like that in fantasy football, obviously a little bit better in best ball, because he has the big playability. But the fact that the safeties have to know where he is at all times just makes it so you can't really just double JJ. And with JJ, you have to double him, right? So good looks there. I like that they did a little halfback pass to give the London folks a little fun. I always root for the overseas games to have a couple big plays because you don't want it to be boring. What about the Brown side? What'd you see over there?
Yeah, what's crazy is how loud they cheer for punts. It's just like, ooh, just
Yeah,
really interesting when you watch it.
yeah, exactly.
Dylan Gabriel could be serviceable going forward. 19 of 33, 192 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Took care of it. 10 of those 19 completions were to tight ends. So he was able to get Fannin value, was able to resurrect Njoku. The tight end's rookie's quarterback's best friend. Judkins might be the best rookie running back in this class. They're going to use him. Stefanski likes to run the ball. He was a steal possibly. I mean, just summing it up, they're not great, but Gabriel was able to salvage a good fantasy football line.
Right. And it's the harsh reality sometimes that there are some guys that are the good guys, some guys maybe not particularly great guys. You never quite know as an outsider, but what we do know is that talent cannot just be replaced. You know what I mean? And Quinshon Judkins, it's obvious that he's more talented than Jerome Ford. As of right now, more talented than Dylan Sampson. That's why he went in the second round. This guy's awesome. So they're going to lean on him, man. He looks great out there. So keep going with him. Isaiah Bond, I will say he did get 7 targets, didn't catch a whole lot of them. So we'll monitor the Cedric Tillman situation. But the tight end situation is also going to be kind of a nightmare because Njoku, came out, got more targets. Then they both scored. So I try to avoid a situation like that, but you kind of just start whoever you have right now. So that's the deal over there. Cowboys at Jets. George Pickens was kind of getting beat up by Sauce Gardner, got bailed out by a big touchdown. I love the announcer, Ziggy, where it's like anytime you hear an announcer say a little bit of hand fighting there, you know what he's saying, right?
Yeah,
Push exactly. Off. Yeah, it's like the pass interference is only for defenders. They only say pass interference if it's a defender. If it's an offensive pass interference or a push off, they say a little bit of successful hand fighting there. So great hand fighting by George Pickens on that touchdown he had. Bailed out what should have been a bad day. Jalen Tolbert played more than Ryan Flournoy, but Tolbert, at this stage, you can't trust him to make plays. He's a good blocker, but and Flournoy's not really a guy we're picking up either. We're just waiting for CeeDee Lamb to get back. That's where I live on this. Jaden Blue was active, didn't really play at all. Javonte dominated. And then Jake Ferguson continues to be awesome in full PPR. And in this particular one, he scored 2 touchdowns. He's been good versus man to man. He's never had a 100-yard game. I don't know when he ever is up with all these games with 10 targets, but as of right now, it doesn't matter. As long as CeeDee Lamb is out, Jake Ferguson, he's locked in for you. Probably when he gets back too. Anything on the Jets side I missed there?
On the Cowboys side, yeah, it was
Okay.
Tolbert scored just as much as Turpin, so take
Yeah.
it for what it's worth. Turpin didn't play.
Right. It's brutal for Tolbert, man. Brutal for Tolbert. So, yeah, Ferg is locked in. Definitely feel good about him where you have him. On the other side of the ball, worth mentioning, I see in the chat here, Mason Taylor came out and looked good. You have to be careful, of course. They called 61 pass plays, which is quite a few. It's so funny watching Justin Fields because they called 61 pass plays. He only attempted 46 passes, though. He always finds a way to run, or 46 that counted as attempts. He always finds a way to run around, throw the ball away, get sacked a bunch. So basically, 75% of the times they called the pass, he threw it, but 25% didn't. He didn't throw the ball. That's Justin Fields football. So Justin Fields to Garrett Wilson's live. Mason Taylor, good usage too. Like he played a ton of snaps. And then Josh Reynolds is like your dart throw, whatever DFS type play that you're probably never going to do. Brees Hall dominated the touches with no Braylon Allen in. Isaiah Davis did get some third down and 2-minute drill work, but I mean, they've kind of committed to a split here. You're going to start Brees Hall. Isaiah Davis is a guy that probably doesn't have any standalone value, but now he has handcuff value with Braylon Allen set to miss pretty much the rest of the fantasy season, right? Iggy, that's what we're saying. He's supposed to miss like 8 to 10 weeks, and like that is the rest of the regular season in fantasy.
Yeah, he's not going to be very usable, rosterable. I mean, if you got a deep IR spot, go for it. But otherwise, no.
I'm not touching it. Dude. Braylon Allen right now is a dynasty only stash for me. So, what about the Raiders Colts game, Iggy?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to take away a lot from this, but what I looked at is Chip Kelly's not playing to the strength of his playmakers. Geno Smith leads the league with 9 interceptions. Myers and Tucker each had 60 snaps. For whatever it's worth, Tucker's just outproducing Myers in this system. It's really hard to play Myers going forward, I think. Mostert has 36 snaps. It just keeps increasing. I don't know if it's because of blowout, if they're just feeling more comfortable with him, but he's eating into Genty's value. So that's just, like I said, I don't understand Chip Kelly. I've always kind of found he's had one good NFL season in my mind. The rest have been a little perplexing. Right. Raiders they can't generate any pressure either. They had 0 sacks. Jeremy Chin's all over the place for their defense. If it weren't for him, they'd be in a worse spot. But other than that, I don't really have a lot on the Raiders.
Right. I mean, you build an offense around Brock Bowers, and then he's not healthy and he's not playing, and this is what you get. It's just tough timing. Because if you had more of the offseason to prepare for like life without him, then you would have all these different schemes. For a guy to get hurt in week 1 and then just be ineffective, and when you are depending on this guy to have like 1,200, 1,300 yards, this is what it looks like when you don't plan.
Yeah, it's brutal. I mean, and I don't think it's going to get much better. Colts, man, great defensive play. It just makes it so much easier for their offense. Short fields, pressuring the quarterback. They're just getting the ball so much. Lou Anarumo, former defensive coordinator, longtime defensive coordinator at the Bengals, he has done a great job with the Colts, and you can compare the Bengals D to the Colts D and look at that. That's why we stress all the time, know the coordinators, know the scheme over here at Fantasy Alarm, and it's just proven itself right there with the Colts, who have been pretty pathetic defensively. Jonathan Taylor, 20 touches. The next closest was Downs with 6. He had 54 receptions on those 6 or he had 54 yards on those 6 receptions. So the game plan is obviously good defense, control the game with JT back there. And if there's any way you can go get him, like if you're in a dynasty league and somebody's out of it and they have JT, try to go get him, because I don't think this is going to be a fluke year. I think this is going to be the year he kind of puts it all together, stays healthy, and is able to really claim that RB1 spot possibly. And Warren is special, dude. They attempted passes with him. That didn't work. They came back and threw it to him for the touchdown. He can just do it all, man. He's an absolute great pick. And this trend of rookie tight ends coming out and being highly effective, kind of bucking the tradition of it. So if you got Warren, congratulations.
Yeah. And again, it's like with Warren, we got kind of lucky in that Josh Downs, they really don't view him as a full-time guy. And that would, if he was a full-time guy, maybe he is out there getting a lot more targets, and then it's him and Pittman at the top, and Warren can't be as involved. But when they're making Downs a part-time guy, it really lets Warren step up and be the top 2 target along with Pittman. Then you get the carries and stuff on top. It really is a beautiful thing. Worth mentioning in that game, just to wrap it up, that Adonai Mitchell was essentially punished for what he did last week. Only 6 snaps. And what I mean what he did last week is he fumbled at the goal line to and also had a really bad holding penalty on a Jonathan Taylor touchdown that got called back. Basically lost them that game. So, and they'd be undefeated right now. So he got benched, and Ashton Doolin played over him. When Alec Pierce gets back, Alec Pierce will just take his job back. But maybe the Colts, if I was another team, I would be reaching out to the Colts to try and trade for Adonai Mitchell and just give him a fresh start and try and pry him away, because they have a ton of weapons over there. Clearly, he's not fitting in, and but maybe on a new team with a fresh start, he could be good.
So the Colts look like the most complete team in the AFC.
Look good,
maybe the most complete team in the NFL.
Right, and if they don't need Adonai Mitchell like this week, they clearly didn't. They won 40-6. Somebody should reach out, like the Jets. Why the Jets or some of these teams that just don't have a wide receiver 2 at all? I would knock on that door and be like, hey, you know what? This guy's not working out for you. We're willing to give him a shot over here. So, but for right now, Adonai Mitchell, obviously droppable, because if he's not going to play with Alec Pierce out because of mistakes, then when is he ever going to play? Dolphins at Panthers game here. Jalen Waddle had to step up, be the focal point. They were able to kind of get him away from J.C. Horn by moving him into the slot a bunch, which is good. Darren Waller looked good in the first half. The thing with Waller is that, like, I don't think he should have even been playing as many snaps as he did, right? He definitely ran out of steam. Like, this is why these guys get eased in, like 28% the first week. He probably should have been more like 50% this week because he has no conditioning. And you saw that in the second half, he just wasn't as effective. But his snaps are going to get ramped up and up and up. And Waller is an absolute, like, for me, a guy you're locking into your lineups because he's clearly a top 2 target on the team. Devon Achane is always going to be a guy that's in your lineup no matter what. He played over Ollie Gordon in every facet. Jalen Wright was a healthy scratch. So, I don't know. Again, another guy that could be a potential trade candidate in Jalen Wright if they're just going to never play him. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine played more snaps than Malik Washington, but he was kind of like a scarecrow out there, like a blocking guy. And Malik Washington looked better with the ball in his hands. He obviously got 5 targets to 0 for Westbrook-Ikhine, but if neither one is going to be a full-time player, I'm not really sure I trust or like either one. So it's definitely Washington over Westbrook-Ikhine, but I don't know if I'm super excited about starting either of those guys moving forward. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Like, Washington obviously got more touches. I hate when these guys are all part-time guys,
Yeah, being a great block-in wide receiver has its benefits in the NFL, but not much for fantasy purposes, right? Although we saw him make big touchdown plays last year. So
yeah.
I don't know if you got a deep bench, maybe hold off, because I don't know what you're going to find better. I mean, there's only 2 teams on bye week this upcoming week, but I don't know that he's necessarily droppable if you don't have, if there's nothing better out there. But I'm not playing either one of them. I do have Washington in some leagues. I didn't play him this week. So.
Yeah, so basically what you got Waddle, 36 routes, Devon Achane, 35. Then you had 29 from Westbrook-Ikhine, 27 for Washington, 27 for Waller. That's out of 42. So, you're not even getting a 75% route participation from any of those guys. In deeper leagues, hold on to them just to see. But right now, nobody's kind of proven himself. No one's run away with it. On the Panthers side, Rico Dowdle, awesome. Rico Dowdle, he's like he's the Mac Jones of running backs, right?
I think that's the system. Dave Canales that's what he does. That's what he does.
Yeah. I mean, it's the Dave Canales running backs program. I am on board with it. So Rico Dowdle, awesome with Chuba out. We'll have to see what the split looks like when Chuba gets back. Maybe they do mix him in a little more, or maybe they just say, a lot of teams will just say, okay, you know what? We got this guy in our back pocket and we'll just keep using Chuba. And if we need him, we need him. There's different philosophies that these teams have, like we've seen it with, in the past with Charbonnet, that's what they did. Like, he played well when Walker was out, but then they would just go right back to Walker. Now it's more of a split. So who knows? All we know is that if you have Rico Dowdle, you're definitely holding on to him because, the matchup definitely helped, but I think the scheme helps as well. Xavier Legette came back, got bailed out by a touchdown, but he also played a pretty big snap share, but it's just not really a guy we trust. He's got some mechanic issues that I highlighted in one of my previous articles.
But
Uh,
also, Young's passes, like if he panics, it's almost like I'm just going to throw a bad pass to Leggett because he's my
right.
biggest wide receiver. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because some of those passes are just not within any kind of radius even for him to catch. So
Yeah, they don't really count as targets if you're really breaking it. Like that's why with certain sites, if you go to Pro Football Focus versus like Pro Football Reference, you'll see a difference in the targets. Some sites will say, "Oh yeah, Xavier Leggett got like 6 targets," but if you go to sites that rule out the obvious throwaways that aren't even close, he basically got 3 targets. Like 3 catchable targets. And again, this is a guy that jumps every time the ball comes to him. Just not a guy I'm really interested in, right? Jimmy Horn played a little bit, which is cool. He got some hype in the offseason. Only ran 9 routes, but they were trying to get him the ball, handed it to him a couple of times, got him 2 targets. So, I mean, again, deep dynasty, you throw a guy like that on the bench, maybe if it's again a very deep league, but worth mentioning him. Tommy Tremble still led the team in snaps with JT Sanders out. Mitchell Evans stole the touchdown. We're really trying not to start those guys if possible. Anything else on that one before we move on?
yeah, I had a Trimble anytime bet on the bet tracker didn't hit, but
Yeah.
you know who did hit? Michael Pittman on his birthday. So
Let's
thank you.
go, dude. Pittman's been great. I mean, like, it feels good to put him in there. I know he hasn't been lighting it up with yards. He did get 10 targets last week. I think only 5 this week, but he's finding the end zone in a good offense. So you can't, what more do you want? He's this year's Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, no, don't do that to my guy Sutton. Come on, man.
Sutton was great last year. Similar situation, I felt, dude.
Yeah, a little bit. I think Sutton's a little more polished player. Let's say, okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'd say that. If I had to pick one, I'd pick Sutton. But hey, Pittman's still rock solid, man. Still rock
I mean,
solid.
I love Pittman. I got a lot of Pittman this year. I'm not trying to talk bad about him. Yeah, looking at the Texans Ravens real quick, man, it's just difficult to decipher. They made CJ Stroud look amazing. He was almost perfect as a, and he was droppable essentially the previous
Right.
4 weeks. So they won their game going into the bye week. That was good. Chubb had 24 snaps. He led the backfield in touches. Marks had 27 snaps. Had the catch as well. I just don't read too much into it. They had this game won pretty much at the get go,
Right.
and due to that, they had Hutchinson and Noel. They were, Stroud was trying to feed those guys, morale, development, usage, all those things with those two. So in deeper leagues, hold on to those guys, and then just real quick, man, the Ravens are cooked. I mean, get ready for their worst. Get ready, Ravens fans, for the worst season you've experienced in probably 2 decades. Okay, it's
Yeah.
going to be bad. We need to remember their defense, like for DFS lineups, when we're going up against them. We need to remember fantasy, players that may not be like fringe flex play. Get them up there when they're playing the Ravens defense. It's by far the worst defense in the league. I mean, they made Nick Chubb look good. He's got a touchdown. Give me a break. I mean, that's just who they are. Keaton Mitchell, only 4 offensive snaps. So I know a lot of people were maybe holding off, hoping something there. That just did not come to tuition. Henry does not look good. I don't know if it's the offensive line play. Basically, everything goes with Lamar on this team. When Lamar goes, this team goes. And it's
Right.
just simply how it is. And
Yeah.
like I said, from the Texans standpoint, they got a bye week next week anyway. Just hold off, okay? Just wherever your thoughts were prior to this game, keep those intact.
Yeah. Where my buddy texted me yesterday, he said, "Who's going to win the AFC North?" And my answer was, "Who cares? Like, who cares? These teams all look terrible. They all look awful. So we'll see. Maybe the Steelers. I don't know. But the Ravens, to your point, like they set up a very complex defense and they have a quarterback who has to put the team on his back every week. Once you lose guys on a defense like that, you're going to have all these crazy mistakes because they have so many complex rules with like the palms and the if then that rules. The second you start putting backups in there they don't know how to communicate and they don't really fully understand the scheme, you're going to get these wide open guys because it's like the more complex you set it up, the better and smarter the people need to be, that are available, right? So
It just shows you how great Roquan Smith is, because without that captain there, you can have somebody kind of be clueless. You could be like, you're playing deep thirds. Hey, if they cross over man motion, this is what you do. You could
right,
have that middle linebacker directing that whole team. Without him there, it's going to fall apart because his football IQ is underrated. It was great coming out of Georgia, so I think that's right. And hey, real quick, Luke, no Chubb slander. I started Chubb. I had to drop him in my 16 team league this week due to bye week, so I still love Chubb. I mean, no
I love
hate.
Chubb.
But he's not Cleveland Chubb. Let's just
He's
call it
not.
It's just caught on.
And that touchdown, I think there were a lot of people that probably could have scored that touchdown. But we love Chubb here. I know Howard Bender would be defending him as well. So both solid players. Broncos, Eagles. Cortland Sutton continues to be awesome, as we've already pointed out. Evan Engram is one of the best. He's one of the worst good players, man. Like, I always root for him. He scored, but it makes me so nervous that he just plays such a partial snap.
Did you notice the fourth quarter use? I don't know if you've watched the condensed games yet, but
I did. I watched this one. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, when the pressure started cooking, things weren't working. Ingram came out, I mean, he balled out, I should say.
Number one was everywhere at the end of the game there. Yeah. And I think that's kind of how they're looking at it, but still only 23 of 43 snaps. We'd love to see him play more, but yeah, with the game on the line, he got some looks there, made a couple tough catches too. So that's the thing is we'd love to see him just get a full-time role. Right now, he's not quite there. Same with the rest of these guys. This is one of those teams that's just, they're not willing to commit to the same 11 guys. Like, it's not like the Rams or even the team they played, the Eagles, that are just, they know who their guys are and they're just going to roll with them every week. They like to mix and match and see what people have. Troy Franklin is still operating as a wide receiver too. Pat Bryant, despite not getting many looks, his role is growing a little bit, right? We want to see that. We want to see this guy play. Marvin Mims got some touches, but still only 19 of 43 routes run. And then Tyler Bidet, they just decided we're going to have him come and play a bunch of pass plays. He got the third downs. He got the 2-minute drills. So it hurts RJ Harvey, man. RJ Harvey still goes in and gets touches. Like, when he's in there, they clearly have things drawn up specifically for him, but he needs a role. So, like, right now, can't trust Harvey. He's kind of just like a injury or bye week guy you throw in there, right, Iggy? Like, you can't trust a guy that doesn't have a role.
I saw it coming in training camp. I just, it was just every indication was there that Dobbins was going to be the one they wanted. Right. And Sean Payton getting the most out of him. I don't know. Harbaugh got a lot out of him last year. But yeah, the Broncos, Packers, basically the same team. They have a true alpha wide receiver, but there's just too much talent. These guys are getting separation on routes. Some guys have specialties about themselves and a good running game. So, it's hard. It's hard out there.
You're going to need injuries probably with this team to consolidate things a little bit,
Easy.
So we'll see. I'm still holding Harvey and TreVeyon Henderson, guys like that, you hold them because, like, in hindsight, like, we sit here and we're like, wow, 5 weeks, that's so much football. But at the end of the year, we're going to look back sometimes and be like, wow, I can't believe we panicked after 5 weeks. Guys like Trey McBride didn't do anything, obviously, until Zach Ertz got hurt. That was week 7. Amon-Ra St. Brown, go back to his rookie year, he didn't do anything until week 11. You know what I mean? So, like, you got to hold on to the guys you believe in the talent. But right now, whatever it is, whether it's his, sometimes these schemes are complex and he can't really understand it, and they don't trust him in the pass blocking game. That could be all it takes to keep him off the field. So probably what's going on there with Harvey, I'm holding, but not a guy that had really difficult to trust him in lineups across the board. On the Eagles side, Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown, squeaky wheel gets the grease. They complained and cried, and they got 17 targets, and they lost. So congratulations to them on getting the ball like they wanted. I hope big day for crybaby wide receivers everywhere, really. So congratulations to them on that. Dallas Goedert, 32 of 45 snaps, which isn't ideal. Usually he plays a ton, but he got 8 targets and he's fine. You know what I mean? Like, he's a guy that he's not going to light the world on fire unless a wide receiver gets hurt. But for the most part, you can throw him in there. You could do worse. And then Saquon Barkley has not been as efficient. Maybe losing Jason Kelce a bigger deal than we thought. But again, you're starting Saquon every week. Like, this team is so highly consolidated that you just kind of got to hold your nose and start these guys unless you have truly better options, right? Kind of as simple as that. And again, with A.J. Brown and stuff, we do the start sits, and he's still a guy that has upside from week to week. But if you have just clearly get better options that are producing every week, start them. It's okay to sit guys if they're not performing. You have to treat it that way. So for me, most cases where I have these guys, I'm probably going to have to start them, especially with the bye weeks hitting, the injuries hitting. But and Barkley, you're always going to start. But yeah, it's not looking ideal over there, man. Not looking ideal.
Jesus, sorry, I thought I had that off. Yeah, dude. With Barkley, I don't know. The curse of 370, maybe that's a bad name, but there's just too much data to back it up. I know I moved furniture Saturday, Sunday. I took a nap. I was just lazy, man. So, right. I mean, just in a one day, weekend dad kind of thing, I can feel the pain of too much work. I can't imagine Barkley after setting, regular season marks and playoff marks.
And I also Well, a great point was made this summer by JJ Zachariason, where he basically said this. He said, "Look, he goes here. The data points to these guys trending down, and he goes, it isn't always injury related though. He goes,
Right.
a lot of it is just general regression to the mean. You know, like, and the more I've been thinking about the examples like this, like, let's say you and me go golfing, Iggy, and you shoot, an 80, and then I shoot a 100, and we go out and your average is 100, and everyone's expecting you to go out and shoot an 80 again because you just did. But in reality, the odds are probably that you just will play pretty good like you usually do, but it's not going to be like record setting best ever. That's just kind of how averages and regressions work. Not to mention they were obviously force feeding him the ball at the end of last season to get those extra numbers, like the game where they were beating when they were beating the Cowboys 38-3 and he got every carry in the fourth quarter. Like, obviously that was chasing a record. So like you just have to factor in just general regression into the equation here. So if you draft a Saquon, whatever, it's not a bad pick. Just start him every week. You're not going to get a good trade for him right now. There's not a really good option to go out and trade for. So just stick with it, man.
Yeah.
Giants and Saints, Iggy, what do you got?
Yeah, what a game, man. I nailed the Saints. I knew they were going to win this game. Jackson Dart's he's not ready. I mean, it's only his second game, first one on the road, 40 passes. That's not ideal. You don't want Jackson Dart throwing 40 passes, not even for fantasy football. 17 of 26 of those went to tight ends or running back. So he's not, granted, Neighbors isn't there, but like we tried to warn you last week, Coop, and we told him Wan'Dale Robinson's probably going to take a hit. I dropped him in one league. I can't drop him in my other leagues, but just don't expect any production there. Bellinger had 42 snaps. That was a season high. You saw him getting a lot of targets, but it's all about Theo Johnson near the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
Dart and Theo Johnson have a great relationship. I drafted Theo Johnson so much in best ball. I'm really happy to see this, but he still had 60 snaps. Even though Bellinger got a season high, Theo still had 60 snaps. If you look for him on the waiver wire, I think Theo Johnson's going to be relevant the rest of the season. I was kind of big believer in him, this year with him being healthy. He's kind of like a freak, dude. He's really huge. He's going to present problems to most linebackers and cornerbacks and safety. I mean, he can do the old Antonio Gates, just pin them behind him and then throw it right here, Dart. I'll catch it, and that's going to work most times out of not.
He's a big dude, and he also quietly has like 90th percentile speed, which is why his RAS score is like one of the relative athletic score is like one of the best ever, because you usually don't have guys that fast. Even if he's not like the fastest in the league, you don't have guys that run like a 4.5. I think it's like a 4.56 at that size, which is like nuts, dude. So guys with Frank Train, he was our third waiver ad. We had Waller, Mason Taylor, Theo Johnson as the top three. So if you didn't get Waller or Taylor, this is the week to go out and grab him, because I mean, Malik Neighbors gone, baby. He's not coming back. He gone.
Yeah, exactly. And on the flip side, I mean, the Giants couldn't generate any pressure against the Saints, against Rattler, which I thought was kind of a credit to the Saints line. Rattler finally gets his first win of his career in the NFL, 21 of 31. He didn't have to do anything special, but you can see that it's all there. You can see he's clicking with his wide receivers. On the running back side, Keandre Miller had 29 snaps and more backfield touches than Kamara did, who had 37 snaps. Kamara's still getting a lot of the volume in the pass game, but Olave is the clear alpha there. He's getting the targets, he's getting the yards. But like I said, Rattler is really good at spreading the ball around. Shaheed got that bomb. I thought they were going to get a couple more, but the Giants' offense stalled. Rattler didn't have a reason to really throw much in the basically half the third quarter, fourth quarter on. Juwan Johnson had 56 snaps with the return of Taysom Hill, but it's the least he's had all season. Taysom Hill only had 11 snaps. 6 of those were at quarterback, so he didn't really threaten Johnson. I don't know if that was just injury related, just how it worked out. Johnson did have a pretty big drop that would have significantly changed his stat line. But have faith in Johnson is what I'm trying to say. And then defensively, Demario Davis and Pete Werner may be the best inside linebacker duos in the NFL. They're simply amazing. Don't sleep on the Saints team is what I'm trying to tell you. I think they're better than their record states, and I think the Bills are worse than their record states. The inverse to each other.
Right. Juwan Johnson, the weirdest day for Juwan Johnson, because he had the drop that was bad right on his hip. That would have been, I mean, with his ability, easily 20-yard play, maybe more. He had a screen for -2 yards, and then he got the 19-yard pass. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Taysom Hill threw that, right?
Yeah, Taysom Hill threw in that one close to the goal line. You know,
Right.
it was tight end love there.
Tight end play. So I mean, it's like very, very strange day. When your longest catch is 19 yards, you end up with 17 yards, and you had a drop that would have been another that would have changed your day from bad to respectable, you know. So kind of interesting. Well, worth mentioning as well for those that didn't watch the game, Jackson Dart had a flea flicker that was executed perfectly by Cam Scatterbo, perfectly by Darius Slayton, and he did the thing that every quarterback at one point has done this, where you see a guy wide open and your mind says, "Don't overthrow this because that you'll blow it," and then
Yeah,
he underthrew it, and
yeah.
not only did uh, that
Kool-Aid.
just allowed the defender to get back there. He can
Yeah,
throw it farther than that. There's no doubt in my mind Jackson Dart could have converted that play had he just chucked it. But that's where you got to throw a moon ball that's just as far as you can, as high as you can, and he'll get to it because, dude, the underthrow there, that was game changing, man. Like
that's when you needed Russell Wilson in. He would have completed
he
that
would
pass.
have, yeah. But I mean that stuff keeps you up at night, dude. As somebody who played quarterback, like you make good plays, you don't even think about them. You think about that like that one time you threw an interception on like a slant or whatever. It's like, or the underthrowing the deep ball. That stuff lives in your mind. So hopefully Jackson Dart gets over that. Next one here, Buccaneers at Seahawks. Emeka Egbuka continues to be awesome. Him and Godwin played virtually the whole game. Sterling Shepard played in the slot. Same question we have as last week moving forward. When Mike Evans gets back, Sterling Shepard's going to come out of the game. Like, and one of Godwin or Igbuka is probably going to get more slot work than the other, and that person is going to be in a position to do really well. Again, whoever you have on your team is who you're rooting for to get that work, but it'll be interesting to see who goes into the slot, whether it's going to be Godwin, who played a ton there last year, or whether it's going to be Igbuka, the younger guy who they want to potentially help get easier matchups, right? So it'll be interesting to see which way that goes when Evans gets back. But for me, I'm just going to plan to play these guys where I have them. You know, you can't trade Egbuka right now. You're not going to get. That's the problem that you run into is that everybody knows the deal, so no one's going to pay you his actual production value, right? Like right now, his production is like what Jackson Smith and Jigba is, but no one was going to pay you that because they know that guys are coming back. So it's like it goes to guys like that you just have to hold, right, Iggy? Like you can't sell low on a guy when he's playing this well, right?
I mean, I'm
Maybe,
not trading
maybe,
him. I'm not trading any of these wide receivers. I have Sterling Shepard. I had to drop. Chubb instead of Shepard because I wasn't gonna. I'm not dropping
right,
anybody in this pass attack. Their defense isn't great, so they're going to keep passing every game.
right. But it's yeah. So you just kind of ride it out, man. If you got Godwin, Agbuka, hold on to him, and then when Mike Evans gets back, we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
Kadon played a big workload. Sorry,
I said, yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see. Evans coming
wait,
back
let's
will
wait and
take
see.
it up, but
Yeah,
we
I
don't
think
know.
the time to trade these guys is going to be that first game when Evans gets back because the production will probably be whatever it is. All over the place won't matter, but we'll see if one guy gets like the slot role. We'll see who's a part-time guy or not. And some people don't care about the stuff we're talking about today, all the underlying stuff, and that could be a one game moment where we're like, hey, just by the way, Chris Godwin's a part-time guy right now, and Egbuka and Evans are getting the full work and Egbuka is also playing in slot and 3 wide receiver sets, but staying out there for 2 wide receiver sets. It's like some people don't care about that, and that's going to be the opportunity to potentially make a trade. So we'll let you know what's going on there. For now, as long as Bucky Irving's out, you're starting Rachaad White, right? Like he played virtually the whole game. Tucker played nothing. So if you picked up Rachaad White, you might have a guy moving forward. The 2 teams on bye this week are the Texans and the Vikings, right?
Yep.
So yeah, no worries on that front. On the Seahawks side, Kenneth Walker was more efficient. Charbonnet scored the touchdown. Walker carries the water. Charbonnet drinks it. That seems to be the setup here. But I don't know, man. Charbs is playing on pass downs and goal line, which is like kind of how the Browns used to use Kareem Hunt. Like they just trusted him. But you know what this reminds me of actually really a ton is early in Melvin Gordon's career. When Melvin Gordon was like the young guy, he was making plays, but the Chargers insisted on using Danny Woodhead for like important pass downs and also for goal line. And Melvin
Yeah.
Gordon didn't score a touchdown, but he was like still running the ball well.
Yeah.
That's what this feels like. Like Walker's running the ball really well, but Charbonnet gets like the really high leverage pass downs and the goal line. And that's what happens when Kenneth Walker, when they're installing an offense and Kenneth Walker misses a month and a half, right? It's like you're not there to learn the plays and for them to trust you. Time's going to come and they're not going to trust you. So I'm still starting Walker wherever I have him. Charbonnet is a spot start, right? You can't really trust Charbs, but he's still a handcuff plus,
Yeah, handcuff plus for sure.
And you can start him for bye weeks. It's like he's like a juiced up Tyler Algier, right? Like just get him in there if you have to, and you hope he scores a touchdown. At least he's got a floor, but you need an injury to one of these guys to really hit a ceiling. JSN and Cup continue to play a ton because they use a bunch of 2 tight ends and fullbacks. Torrey Horton, unfortunately, is the wide receiver 3 in an offense that doesn't use 3 wide receiver sets much. He's a stash, and if one of those 2 guys gets hurt, then he gets into a really nice role. AJ Barner, he's making plays, man. He's super slow, but they like him in the red area. He only ran 22 of 34 routes, so I'm not going to go out and go crazy adding him. But in an offense like this, he's definitely a DFS dart throw and anytime TD type guy. But I would love to see him play more. If one of him or Arroyo got hurt, then it becomes a lot more interesting, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it with Seattle. I mean, I like Kubiak. Then the last note I'll make on this is that imagine the Panthers watching this game. Both these quarterbacks, Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, they had them both, and they combined for like 800 passing yards, something close to that, right? Like definitely well over 700, right? So shout out to the Panthers.
Coaching makes a difference, man. It's the bottom line truth. Look at your coaches. First thing I make on my cheat sheet every year: coordinators, coaches, previous total points scored and points against.
Always.
Calvin Ridley, Tony Pollard, man, there you are. My goodness. Ridley 131, 1 touchdown. Pollard 17 touches on 47 snaps. Clear alpha on their team. Spears had 17 snaps coming back. Could be a good thing for Pollard more than it is for Spears, in my opinion, looking at it. This was just such a weird game, dude. I had to go back and watch this one, and I was catching myself rewinding it. I'm like, dude, I'm over an hour in this condensed game. I got to move on from it. But it was just a total collapse by the Cardinals. Cedric Gray, if you're in the IDP leagues, he's probably out there. Played 71 snaps in 4 out of the 5 games. He's got 45 tackles thus far. Go take a look at him. The Titans have a great punter, which makes a difference for a lot of things.
What kind of linebacker is Gray? Is he just classic middle linebacker? What is he?
He's classified as outside, but they kind of play more like a weak side linebacker, I'm noticing. But yeah, he had 6 solo tackles, 6 assist tackles against the Cardinals, man. Back-to-back weeks with 12 plus tackles. So I think he's the real deal. Keep an eye on him going forward.
That's awesome.
But they have great IDP: Simmons, Gray, Joseph Day. Go take a look at those guys. They might be available in your leagues, and they can help you get over that hump.
The Jeffrey Simmons draft pick is still like one of the best jobs done because he had this tape come out where he actually tackled a woman and hit her, and everyone was like, oh my God. And then he tore his ACL, and they did their homework, and they basically found out that he only did that because that woman was beating up his mom or something, and it just, the video looked bad from the angle. And then the ACL was a clean tear, and they got him back end of the first round. They still took him in the first round, but very back end of the first round. This guy has been just awesome.
He gets double teamed, dude. He was basically double teamed that whole game. Still walks up with a sack and a half, man.
He had a sack on CJ Stroud. I was talking to Chuck Bass about this, where he basically a week ago or so, where he basically just teleported through the line. This guy is he's so fast for a big guy up the middle, man. So yeah, shout out to the Titans D.
Difference maker, man. Difference maker. On the Cardinal side, they're just not scheming up for Harrison to run anything intermediate. It's just not happening, man. So he's going to be kind of a bomb. He's either going to be a boom or bust kind of guy every week. So just prepared to ride that. Kyler was hurt on that weird third quarter snap where like there's pre-snap movement on a lineman and they snap the ball and they count. It was a real bizarre game. But Kyler Murray got hurt in that. He came out, Jacoby Brissett threw a pass, and then Murray came back in. I don't know how much is in that. That's something you need to monitor. If there's something even remotely wrong with Murray and he messes it up, he's probably going to be done.
I'm hearing it's a foot, dude, which is for a guy like Kyler Murray, that's the worst possible thing. Ribs.
He's still a full threat running back, but if he can't run like he was, that's going to be an issue. If
he can't run, I'm not interested, dude.
Yeah,
I love Kyler Murray, but it's that's the whole appeal. That's the whole reason he's like QB7 all time in fantasy points per game is the running. Without the running, what do we really have? A guy that just dumps it down to Trey McBride faster than any other quarterback in the league? Like,
I
I don't know,
mean,
man.
yeah, like I said, they're not scheming up Harrison for that. In the running back, you had Carter, 39 snaps. He had 18 for 51, 5 catches for 22 yards, actually. He looks exactly like he did with the Jets, man. Just not great. I love him, one of those guys you want to cheer for, but not great. And then, DeMarcado had 19 offensive snaps. He had 3 for 81. Of course, the touchdown's famous by now. If you haven't seen Gannon going over there and ripping him out a new one, that's where it's going to taking a look at. And then Bam Knight had 11 offensive snaps, 4 for 11, and they got the touchdown though, and then the 1 catch for 13. So it's a mess. I had DeMarcado in a couple leagues, so I played him. But it's a mess over there. If you have the Cardinals running backs, be prepared for that. Just an epic collapse in the fourth quarter, interception, fumble, touchdown. What was that? Like, did you see that play where they intercepted it? He like falls on his back and bounces the ball up, and
Right to Lockett,
Tyler Lockett gets the touchdowns. It might be Tyler Lockett's only touchdown all season, man.
Right.
Just a bizarre play. Just there's a lot of weird stuff in that game.
And it's games like that, though, man. And this Kyler. I hate to say it, but Kyler Murray and Gannon, these guys are now kind of famous for like they could be 5-0 right now. They lost by what 1 point to the 49ers. They lost by a field goal last week to the Seahawks, right? And then now they lose by 1 point again to a terrible team on a bunch of junk. It's just like that's just Cardinals football, baby. And I'll tell you what,
touchdown ruins it all. Like, I mean, like that touchback ruins. Like, if they score that touchdown, the game is over. That was like, there's like, all that happened in the fourth quarter for the Titans, essentially.
right? And I'll say this: they can't find somebody better than Michael Wilson to go out there, man, because this guy plays so many snaps. He had his season high in receiving yards this week was 16. 16, bro. Here's his last 5 games so far: 16 yards, 15 yards, 5, 11, 5. He's playing the whole game
out there, not throwing. Who's that other wide receiver that people had hopes of for last year? He's still on the roster.
Greg Dortch, Zay Jones. I mean,
Jones, yeah.
Anybody else out there, dude? Give Zay Jones a shot because it's like this guy must be the best blocking wide receiver in the history of football to play as many snaps as he does. So, next game here: Chargers Commanders. Deebo Samuel put the team on his back. 11 targets here, played hard, no Terry McLaurin. After him, you had Chris Moore run 21 routes. Luke McCaffrey ran 14, but that's out of 32. I know there's been some Luke McCaffrey hype, but he really is not playing nearly enough to consider. So I'm not really adding him. I'm just waiting for McLaurin to come back.
Except for return leagues. He's getting return yards.
But in your return leagues, yeah, in return leagues, he's definitely out there. And the thing with those guys is that like you kind of want them taken off punt because oftentimes whoever is returning kicks and returning punts, they go right to the sideline to get a breather, and you miss the first couple snaps of every drive. Sometimes it's the whole drive. Sometimes a drive is just a couple plays long. So you can't have it, dude. You can't. It's tough. It's tough. Zach Ertz's role continues to trend down, which is not good. Week 2, he played 90% of snaps. Since then, he's played 60% and then 50% the last 2 weeks. So
it's going up.
Was that?
Is Sanat Ben
so
Sanat?
Both Bates and Sanat are playing a bunch of snaps, but they're basically just playing a lot of rundowns. Like they're becoming very predictable in their tight end usage, where it's like when Ertz comes out of the game, you kind of assume they're going to run it. It's very weird. I don't know if it's sustainable, but like Sanat's not running a lot of routes either. Neither is Bates. So it's like Ertz is just kind of, but that kind of usage makes it really hurts the guy's ceiling. You really need guys to be out there every play because you never know when there's going to be an audible or there's going to be, just a situation where you can catch a quick one. And if he's not on the field, you lose those opportunities. That's why we really want guys playing like 80, 90%. And yeah, I see him in the chat. Believe Bill got his first start and he was awesome. Those touchdowns were easy. Anyone could have run those in, but Bill did it and he looked cool doing it. So he's still over 100 yards of scrimmage. He should be the starter moving forward. So if you have him, definitely much more startable than he's been. 28 snaps for him, 15 for C-Rod, 15 for McNichols. So it's not like he basically just took everything over, but they would be stupid not to use that guy more. On the Chargers side, Ankle injury, walking boot for Marion Hampton. So now we're just lighting the candles and we're waiting to see what happens next. If just based on doing the RB questionnaire all year and kind of knowing the trend of how things have gone, the guy to add for me is probably Hassan Haskins. I know that people want to believe Kamani Vidal is going to be the guy. I've heard people talking about them re-signing Gus Edwards, which I mean, sure, I probably should. But like Hassan Haskins, they kept him on the roster over Vidal and these other guys for a reason. So, because like Vidal, any team could have signed Kamani Vidal if they wanted, right? Once you go to practice squad and they release you, any team could have swooped in and grabbed that guy. So for me, Hassan Haskins is the guy to get if a Marion's going to miss time. It's not going to be great, but it's going to, it's an option. Same setup with the wide receivers. Lad McConkey, QJ got the full snaps. Keenan Allen comes in for 3 wide receiver sets. And when he does, Lad McConkey moves into the slot. Allen plays outside. And when Allen comes in, like he's just a focal point. Like they go right to him. So yes, McConkey scored the touchdown. Nobody was really super impressive. And it's probably going to be like that a lot of these games. Good to see Rondé Gadsden get more snaps, but I did go back and rewatch this one. And he only ran 25 of 41 routes. And when they brought in the backups, once it was a blowout, he stayed in the game, So it was like, would he have gotten the snap share he had gotten otherwise? I don't know. But DFS play, they clearly have figured out that he's a better pass catcher than Tyler Conklin and Will Disley, right? And that much is officially confirmed. So
they're also kind of like a look at me move, right? Like you're able to go get this guy that I believe played Division III.
Syracuse.
Yeah. Oh, he played at Syracuse? Well,
Syracuse, yeah.
It's not as deep a find, but I mean, he went undrafted, correct? Or they didn't draft him?
No, they did. I think they drafted in the 7th round, I want to say.
Round.
Yeah.
Still look at me move at that point, right? Like, I don't know.
It is one of those.
They have some kind of affection for him, clearly. But
I'll tell you what it is.
I mean, was Disley he's still battling injury, correct?
Yeah, a little bit. But I'll tell you what it is, Iggy, is that Andy Bischoff is the tight end coach. And he was the tight end coach with the Ravens when they converted Waller from a wide receiver to a tight end. Yeah. And like that's like a feather that he has in his cap like forever. And I think he was part of the decision to go out and get him because Gadsden was a wide receiver. His father was a wide receiver in the NFL. And then he converted to tight end and was making all these contested catches. And I think Bischoff and Greg Roman looked at it and were like, you know what? Like, if anybody in these late rounds could be the next Juwan Johnson or Darren Waller, it's this guy. And now they're kind of trying to use him like that. So you're right. It is definitely one of those things where it's like, hey, we got this guy for a reason. We finally got a chance to use him with Will Disley out. And if it's working, we'll stick with it. So it's just I would love it if they were doing that and they didn't have three good wide receivers, right? We'd love this guy in another scheme, right? If he was in Mason Taylor's spot on the Jets, we would love this guy.
It's not so bad. I don't see Allen playing more than 2 years, so
Dynasty,
put him over there in the taxi squad, man. Just get on the taxi squad.
In my dynasty rankings, I had Gadsden basically right where I had Harold Phantom because I was like, look, this is the exact same type of player, right? It's like he's got to carve out a role in the pass game as a wide receiver to have upside, and they're doing it. So good for them. What about Lions Bengals, Iggy? Or do you have any last thoughts on the Commanders Chargers?
No, yeah, you summed it up, man. That was it for me. Yeah, Lions. What do you expect? Offense is rolling. Goff, Gibbs, Montgomery, ASB, Laporta all had great games. It's going to be difficult to bench them going forward. I work with inaugural Hall of Famer Greg Kellogg, and he has a segment that I've been doing with him now for 2.5 years, studs to sit. So I'll never say start all your studs because the data's there. So your studs aren't going to do great every week, okay? Go look at Jamar Chase. He had a good 1 week, but not necessarily the rest of the weeks. So, but, it's going to be hard to bench those guys going forward. Montgomery, former Cincinnati high school quarterback, he showed out, dude. He got the passing touchdown, the rushing touchdown, 60 yards. So if for some reason somebody dropped him last week because of a bad performance or whatever, you were able to get him. Good job. Don't have faith in him going forward. And then the Lions defense, defense special teams does make a difference out there when you start playing competitive teams in the playoffs and so forth. 3 interceptions, 2 sacks. that team's humming, man. They've gotten past the woes of going to new coordinators. I think they're back to where they need to be. So that little trial period's over. Jamar Chase breakout game. It's hard to say that with Jamar Chase, but 6 catches, 110 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chase Brown, 48 yards on 15 touches. He's got no value, not even half-point PPR leagues. He's got to be a PPR guy. I would try to offload him if you can for some point after this kind of somewhat reliable Brown, floor game. How do you say his name? Asavis, the third wide receiver there?
Oh, it's Yosivas.
Yosivas, that's it, right?
Yosivas. It's a Y. It's like Yoshi. Yosivas.
Yeah,
that's a tough one.
It is tough. 54 snaps for him, man. Second most this season. Could be an ad going 40. He outproduced Higgins on a day that Jamar Chase did really well too. So that backup quarterback relationship, they probably had more time to throw to each other than perhaps him and Higgins have. Something to keep an eye on Yoshi going forward. And then I wrote about Demetrius Knight Jr. in the IDP report. I got to flex a little muscle right here. If you're in an IDP league, go get him. He doesn't need to be sitting around. He's being targeted in the pass game due to the fact that he's a rookie and Logan Wilson's beside him. And he's just pretty good in the run game too. So go get him, Demetrius Knight from the Cincinnati Bengals.
Awesome, man. Yeah, with the Bengals, Jamar Chase had a monster Scott Fishbowl day because he had 10 targets. You get points for targets, but he also had 3 tackles on turnovers. So monster day for him there. But yeah, Lions. We had a comment in here earlier. Is J-Mo dust? I mean, J-Mo is always going to be a boom bust field stretcher type guy where you kind of, if you don't have better options, you throw him in there because he's got upside. Same with guy like Shaheed, right? These guys have like, when I go through, I'm like, okay, is there a guy that is getting consistent targets and snaps and has upside? Those guys go in my lineup first. JSN, all those guys first. Then I look at it and I say, okay, is this full PPR? Is there a guy that I can at least give me consistent targets? If so, I put him in there. After that, I look at the roles for different guys and it's like, okay, if these guys aren't getting consistent targets and this one guy is like a slot guy that just kind of comes in for, for 3 wide receiver sets and plays a part-time role, am I going to use him or am I going to use a guy that could just get me a 80-yard touchdown, or get a 40-yard end around? And that's where Jameson Williams lives for me right now, is like, if I have consistent guys, I'm putting him in there. If not, I'm throwing him in there because he has upside in any given week. Same with the upside for him is no different than it is for someone like Jordan Addison. He can break off big plays. It just has to be the right game script. And Titan Style, sorry we missed your comment. We were late today to get the show going. We're trying to fly through, but we'll hit your question here. Lost Neighbors, traded Pickens and Sharps for Chase and Ridley. Thoughts? Other wide receivers are Ladd, J-Mo. Yeah, I mean, Jamar Chase, dude, like Burrow could be back. They got to keep this team afloat. But when Burrow gets back, it's back to wheels up. But for now, I mean, you saw it this week. If the teams are going to play man-to-man against Jamar Chase, like the Lions insist on doing, then he's going to make them pay. So it works that way. Last game here, Patriots at Bills. Patriots obviously hottest team in football all of a sudden, dude. You know how that works. If you beat a 4-0 team, you just take all of their mojo. So even though the Bills are 4-1 and the Patriots are 3-2, hottest team in football. That's just math. So Patriots are awesome. Not everything was awesome. Antonio Gibson hurt his knee. Could be serious, they're saying. So
looks serious.
It looks serious, could be serious. So Ramondre went out, fumbled again, lost some snaps to Henderson, but they might just have to go with the 2-man committee. If you have Henderson, continue to hold and use him where you have to, but it seems like it's only a matter of time. I mean, this guy clearly, Stevenson is in his head about this whole thing, and it's getting ugly, but both of them probably startable in certain situations. The schedule is so easy. I mean, look at the Patriots schedule. Bills was the toughest team, but they just won that. Then they play the Saints. Then they play the Titans. Then they play the Browns, which is actually a tough run D. Then they get the Falcons. Then they get the Buccaneers, who are kind of banged up. They get the Jets, the Bengals, the Giants. Like, there are some easy games on here. It's the playoff schedule against the Bills and the Ravens and the Jets, but the Bills and Ravens all of a sudden aren't that tough of defenses. Like, the Patriots lucked into maybe the easiest schedule ever.
It's Tom Brady all over again.
Just the easy, like, yeah. I mean, it's just crazy how easy the schedule is for this team all of a sudden. If the Bengals and the Bills and the Ravens don't get healthy by then like they could backdoor their way into a playoff spot just based on schedule and then lose in the playoffs, which I'd be proud of that. I'd be proud of that as a Patriots fan.
That would be a good season.
You know, why not?
The
If
line
we make the playoffs, dude, I'm
win.
absolutely gonna victory lap. We'll get crushed on wild card weekend. I don't care.
The line opened at 5.5, right?
It was at 6. It was no, the line was set at 8.5, dude.
No, it wasn't.
I swear to God.
No, it was. I know. I remember talking
Fact.
about it. It was like 6.5.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. I guarantee you it was 8.5.
I can't believe.
I will pull the receipts
that.
after the show. I'll pull the receipts and send you because I remember the Broncos were also set in 8.5. No, the Broncos were set in 9.5, and the Patriots and the Bengals and the Cardinals were all 8.5. Because I distinctly remember being like, "What?" Because I was going to bet the over, and then when I saw where it was, I was like, "Oh man, maybe I won't bet that."
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Those computers are smart, man. Those computers,
dude, they know their stuff, man. But yeah, it was set at 8.5, dude. But anyway, route leaders were Hunter Henry actually led with 27 routes. Diggs had 23. Butte had 22. Matt Collins 16. That's out of 36 though. Hunter Henry plays a ton of snaps. 5 pass blocking snaps again hurts him, right? So he was out there for 32 of 36 pass plays, which is great. But when you block on 5 pass plays, it drops you down to 27 of 36, and now you're not really running an elite route participation. Henry is a guy that I ended up starting anyway. Matt Milano got hurt again. You saw that?
He got hurt again? No, I didn't see that.
Pec. He left with the same pec injury.
Well, he was guarding Henry, I know for sure, in a couple of pass snaps. So.
Most of the game. I think it was towards the end of the game where he left. He re-aggravated that pec injury. So
that sucks.
Yeah, a good player. We'll have to monitor him. But yeah, I mean, Diggs looked awesome, man. Super revenge game. He was ready to go for that. So maybe he'll keep it rolling. He's got a lot of incentives. I mean, hopefully it's not just a one revenge game and then call it type situation. But Diggs, for me, going to be in lineups moving forward. Henry probably still in lineups too. On the Bills side, Shakir played 75% of the routes. Coleman, 70%. Coleman obviously had a terrible matchup. He got the touchdown, which was nice, but still, I think, what do you have, like 17 yards? So these guys, difficult to trust. Shakir, at least in full PPR, you can use. Elijah Moore was a healthy scratch. Josh Palmer and Curtis Samuel both played just over 50% of the snaps or so. I can't really trust any of those guys. Dalton Kincaid, only a 60% route participation again, putting him in that like category of we can never rank him in the top tier of players at tight end, right? You can't as a part-time player, but he is a red zone threat every week, and you probably have no one better to start, you know? So Kincaid is
position, man. I mean, it's just
right.
It's I think Kincaid is a startable tight end most weeks, but that's because my expectation on the position is kind of low.
Yeah, I mean, I wish the chat already knew that I was going to be annoying about the Patriots, but hey, you know what? We won, so eat it. But yeah, that's the thing. The tight end business. If Kincaid was on another team, he'd probably be an every down guy that's one of their best players. But on this team, it just doesn't work like that.
Allen looks for him though. When he's got time, he's looking for him.
Well, that's it. Is the plays are drawn up for him when he's out there. So you do have that whole thing of like it's almost like it kind of reminds me of the field stretcher type guys where it's like he goes out there. There's a play drawn up for him. A lot of time it's in the end zone. And he either catches or he doesn't. And the weeks when he doesn't, it's terrible. But the weeks when he does, it's great. And it's like Darius Slayton, for example. That flea flicker, if he caught that, changes the whole day. That's like a 75-yard touchdown if it's thrown correctly. But because of his role, he's either got to make those plays or he doesn't. And that's Kincaid. Whereas like Ferguson, he just gets peppered with targets. He plays the whole game. He's peppered with targets. Kincaid comes out for it seems like a few handful of very specific designed plays, and when he makes them, it's great. When he doesn't, it's not. So hard to trust. Even though I love this player, I got a whole stack of Dalton Kincaid cards right next to me on it. Right here. Like there's one right here. Kincaid, this Kincaid card, this Kincaid card, right? I got it right here. You know, here's a McBride card. Yeah, hell yeah, that rocks. Got all sorts of tight end cards.
They were deploying some double tight over there in Arizona too. Just rewatching that game was so weird, man. That was definitely easily the weirdest game of the week.
Nobody wants to see Tip Ryman. He got hurt again. Elijah Higgins is out there too.
Yeah, Higgins was out some. So
yeah. So and to wrap it, James Cook, monster workload for him. Ty Johnson oddly playing more even on early downs than Ray Davis. I don't know what that's all about. So if there's an injury to James Cook, I'm not even sure Ray Davis is the guy that people think he would be. But James Cook is must start every week. So is Josh Allen. So must start those guys. Start the other ones where you have to. Anything else before we get them out of here? Patriots defense best in the league, right?
Yeah, we'll get back to America's team, Green Bay, next week versus Cincinnati. So that's
America's team back. Yeah. I mean, I held the Packers defense through a bye week. I usually don't hold defenses, but I like them. I think that and now I'm just gonna drop the defense I spot started. Thank you very much, Indianapolis Colts. Not bad. I also spot started the Saints in a spot where they made things happen. So good week, man. Anything else, Iggy, before we get them out of here?
No, sorry for the technical difficulties, everybody, but thank you for joining us.
Yeah, that was on my side. I had to elaborate set of instructions that included resetting my router. So shout out to Restream for the tech. Hey, the tech support came through and we were able to get you a show today. So thanks for tuning in. Hit that like and subscribe button. We'll be live tomorrow, 1 p.m. So 1 p.m. every day this week. Okay. Tomorrow, waivers. Wednesday is going to be DFS and trades. Thursday is going to be start sits. Friday, I'm going to have a guest. This week, it's Rich Rebar. Out for some revenge. Last year in our FFPC matchup, Jaden Daniels got hurt. Otherwise, we would have crushed on that week. And then Iggy and John will be live 6 to 7 p.m. on Thursday before the Thursday night game. So we're loaded up for you guys on the shows all week, 1 p.m. Let's go. Until then, we are going to catch you guys on the flip side.
Adios, turd nuggets.